Swinging through the city. Welcome to your friendly neighborhood triple take. I'm Frank.
I'm Manny.
I'm Joseph.
And today, maybe you guessed it already, but we'll be talking about our review on the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man animated series.
Season 1. Season 1.
Season 1.
Season 1.
Season 1.
We'll do the non-spoiler in the beginning.
Yes.
And then we will give the warning.
No, first. We have to say the overall rating, then justify it non-spoilery, to then go into the spoilery.
Exactly.
So I'll go last.
We will warn you when the spoiler is coming.
I will go last. Joseph will go first.
Yes, hit my microphone at the same time because you could see that little spike right there, Frank.
Joseph will go first. Go for it.
So, as a numerical rating out of 10.
No point nothings. I'm not talking to you.
Unless you want a 0.75, I mean.
I'm giving it a 9.9.
9.9.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, we have problems right now.
We have problems.
But I'll get into it.
Oh, no. Let's clean your ears, buddy.
No, we have problems
I could justify this.
Justify it? Go ahead.
No. We're going to say the ratings first, then we're going to justify it.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
all the ratings first.
My rating, 8 out of 10. Simple as that. 8 out of 10.
I give it the same rating.
I think this dude is nuts because I just want to know something. What did you give X-Men 97?
I ain't gonna lie. That was
Probably
a 10
a
out of, to me, that was a 10
Probably
out
a
of
9. So you think this show is better than X-Men 97?
I give X-Men 97 10 out of 10.
I mean, we could replay the episode.
No.
Think about it now. Think about it now.
Do you think? I'll answer the question.
I would say X-Men 97
is better.
is a 10 out of 10.
Okay. We don't have problems anymore. Problems resolved.
No, we're always going to have problems.
No, we're going to continue to have
Well,
problems.
at least this problem is resolved.
This problem is resolved.
One less problem to worry about.
So, justifications all around. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. Let's start off with the first. Same order.
I don't know how to describe this without spoilers.
Okay, then we'll save it. We'll
save that.
Go ahead, Manny, then.
I'm going to say this. It surprised me because a lot of people were a little bit iffy on the animation style.
You're already talking about what I was going to talk about. Because that's the first thing that comes to mind.
Yes, I can understand why people don't like that little block comic-esque art style. For me, it did not really play that much of a big factor in the overall story. I thought the story was well developed. It's fully fleshed out. It gives a new perspective on Peter Parker and the growth from high school. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it in its simplicity because it doesn't try to do too much. I think that's the most important thing that this show does. Is it's simple and it keeps that same Spider-Man flow. You know what I'm saying? Not trying to do too much here and there and everywhere. And, when the moments hit, they hit. And I have to appreciate that. I think it's a great show.
I mean, the reason why I gave it an 8 and not a 9.9, y'all knowing the Spider-Man fan that I am, right?
The biased.
Which is funny because I don't give that much of a care about Spider-Man, and I'm giving it that rating.
Well, let me. I don't like Spider-Man, but
Manny's just the type of person that dislikes things that most people like.
Yeah, I
on
think
purpose.
He's a fanboy. Like that's what Spider-Man is. He's like Justin Bieber in 2007.
That's
everybody likes him.
That's not true.
Like that's what he is.
That is not true.
Okay.
That is not true. Because
I'm the one with problems. Yeah. Okay.
Because there's two completely different reasons why people like each person. well, obviously one's fake and one's real, but but anyway, aside from that, the reason why I gave it an 8 instead of a 9.9 or a 10 like X-Men 97 was because even though I agree with everything Manny said, right? It had its very simplistic story, but it was a good story. The animation, I really don't like that type of animation style, but in this one, it actually did really well.
I feel like people shouldn't prejudge it.
Exactly.
Don't prejudge this.
And honestly, like I would have never watched it if it wasn't Spider-Man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Someone would have had to tell me to watch it just because of the animation. That's how much I don't like that type of animation. But I was pleasantly surprised. Like it was really good, and like there was moments where it was better than others. I would say sometimes it did feel a little blocky, but when it mattered, it definitely pulled through better than I would have ever expected. The reason why I don't think is as good as a 10, spoiler free, obviously,
or even a 9,
is just like even though I liked the story and I liked how it kind of put his own little touch on the Spider-Man universe kind of thing. There was just moments where I just didn't care that much about the characters. I'm gonna just be honest. Like the characters, I'm not saying the characters were bad. It's just sometimes the characters, like I just didn't really care that much about certain things. But like some of the things that they did specifically, like it kind of kept going up and down for me as I was watching it. It just ended up at 8. I guess that's the best way I can explain it, spoiler free. Like it sometimes it missed and sometimes it didn't, but I think it's a great show.
I think that one of the things it does really well is it captures what Spider-Man is at a young age.
Yes.
And that is the best thing that you could bring to the table. As fans of previous Spider-Man shows that gave that same feel. I'm saying that in terms of like, Spider-Man from 2002. Like he had that kid feeling, you know what I'm saying? But also there were adult themes behind it and there were consequences to actions. You know what I'm saying? So that I think was done extremely well. My throwing of it would be I would say my pet peeve around it is similar to what Frank said. There are parts in this story where it just feels like it's dragging.
Just a little bit.
And you see, I'm comparing it to X-Men 97
because it's like the only
as Marvel's recent animated project.
Exactly.
So with X-Men, it had one bad episode. That was like, and it wasn't even that bad. It just, you didn't really care. Like, you didn't really care, but the action in it was fantastic. This one, I could say, had like 2 or 3 bad episodes where I was just like, all right, let it Lord of the Rings me. Joseph would understand. It Lord of the Rings me. It kept going, and I was just like, all right, get to the point.
Maybe I can explain a non-spoiler part of it. So the way that, aside from like the animation, because like sure, it's not necessarily my preferred animation, but I love the animation in the sense that it gives itself its own identity. Because it reminded me of
I agree.
A past Disney XD show that has been on indefinite hold, and they don't want to say it's canceled.
What show?
Tron Uprising.
Oh.
Which follows suit in a similar 3D comic book-esque art style.
Comic book-esque? I didn't know it was comic book-esque.
Tron and me do not have a good relationship.
Either, so.
But, okay, I digress with that.
Yeah.
That's like the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
But to agree with Manny, the greatest strength that this show has is its simplicity. The way, like, there's a perfect balance between the dialogue that is written versus the performance of the actors. And, like, you can't really, with this show, you can't really have one without the other.
Yeah.
Because then, sure, there are points where I will say it is a little boring. And granted, I was tired and I kind of fell asleep for 5 minutes watching it. But that's also one of the show's strengths in showing the humanity of these characters.
Very true.
Especially in, like, realistically, opposed to X-Men 97, they're all adults in that show for the most part.
Yeah, the only teenager would be Jubilee.
Correct. Whereas in this show,
Is it Sunspot?
Sunspot, oh yeah, Sunspot is also a teen.
Sure, whatever. But in this show, you literally just have him being a kid. Like, he's going from that, like, teenager phase to becoming an adult, but he's that young teenager because he's just getting into high school realistically, given, like, his age in the show. Or he's met with certain topics and themes, or it's just like he has to force himself to essentially grow up, and you see him struggling with that.
That's the best part of Spider-Man. And, even though I don't like him, that's the best parts about him is the fact that he shows the growth from a kid to an adult when Spider-Man needs to be bigger. That's something I understand why people gravitate towards him because of that he could still show that kid side while being an adult and making adult decisions.
Yeah.
All you kids trying to be adults.
With the show being as simple as it is, everything that goes on in the show, for better or for worse, it feels like absolutely interconnected, even on the slow burn episodes. Everything just feels like one big unit. It's one story, and it all directs towards Spider-Man. And, like, the way that it's all articulated and it comes together, I liked it. In terms of, like, my favorite MCU projects, I hold it right next to Loki, in my opinion.
Whoa!
And that says a lot coming
Loki,
to me.
wait, well, Loki season 1 or
2?
The entire show.
Oh,
But it means 2.
Sure.
Loki season 1 is, like, on another level, in my opinion.
I think season 2 is crazier.
I think season 1 is the best.
Anyway, whatever. It's not Loki.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And as a person that likes movies and shows, and, like, I'll deep dive into it.
Especially animation.
And then, the show, aside from Spider-Man's typical flavor, it's not necessarily like the same stuff regurgitated, but it is reformatted in a way that is refreshing.
Yep.
Like, in terms of, like, Spider-Man stories that I've listened, read, or watched, it stands on its own, and that's what I like. And at the end of the day, for it to be season 1, for me to give it a 9.9, I love how in the entirety of the season, it sets itself as a wonderful foundation for it to grow and flesh itself out even more. Compared to some shows that are just like, blah, 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 blah. But sure, this one did take the time to slow itself down. But then when the moments hit, they hit even harder because of it.
I can agree with most of that. Most of it.
Would you disagree?
There are some things I disagree with, but that contains spoilers. But
Okay, that's fine.
which,
Well,
before we
go
do
ahead.
the spoiler, obviously there will be a season 2. Give us.
That's a spoiler.
That's not a spoiler. There will be a season 2. Shocker of the year.
You never know. It might just lead into something else.
So
That connects.
It could be canceled later on. I'm
either
just telling
way,
you now.
It's Disney, man. You never know.
Either way,
Hey,
hype.
they're the kings of
Hypeness
cliffhangers.
level out of 5. Five being the most hype. Season 2, all around. Go, Frank.
Wait, what happened?
Oh my God, I can't believe.
How-
Oh, no. I got it. Honestly, in terms of hype, 10 out of 10.
You
I said out of 5.
5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. Keep that in there.
It's a 5.
It's a
I'm
5.
keeping that in there.
Oh, yeah.
I would say I would agree. It's a 5.
Yeah.
So if you've reached this point, this is about to get heavy into the spoiler room. This is your spoiler warning.
Yeah.
Warning. That's the alarm.
There we go. All right.
We told you that there are spoilers in 3, 2, 1.
Norman is black. I just wanted to say it before Manny did.
He
And
has waves.
And you know what? I loved it. I love that Norman was black, bro. And like, and not because like, honestly, him being black had nothing to do with it. But like, I just liked his character. I just thought it was funny to say that. But I just like his character in this because like Norman, I like Norman Osborn as a character even before Green Goblin. I think he's a great character. And like, obviously, like the best Green Goblin, Norman Osborn, is
William Dafoe.
William Dafoe.
Okay, let's throw a disclaimer because his name is Willem. Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Okay.
Mr. Dafoe.
Willem Dafoe.
Mr. Dafoe.
Mr. Bill. This Norman Osborn, man, I think he's one of the highlights of the show. Because I feel like the way they switch everything around in the show when it comes to, like, the relationship that Peter would have had with Ben, he had with Norman Osborn, that was peak to me. With great power comes great respect. That was fire.
Cold line.
I'm not even gonna
cold
lie.
line.
That's probably like the best one-liner in the whole show.
No, it's a cold line.
Personally, it's the best one-liner in the whole show.
I think Norman Osborn is what I said before about X-Men 97. He's my Magneto of the show. The one who I believe
facts.
carried the show. Because, in my opinion,
Yes.
they did such a great job of making him so manipulative, but also trying to do good at the same time. It was
but-
it was the balance of good and bad at the same time.
But what
that I
made it?
liked.
But what made it even better is that like, cause you kind of get the the best example for X-Men 97 when it comes to Magneto. Like you hear the music, you hear like the environment, everything going on. You're like, this man means business.
He has a presence.
Yeah, he has a presence to him. There we
Aura.
go. An aura. But when it comes to Norman Osborn, it's always the same. Even though we know he's capping out of his waves.
He's capping so hard.
Capping out of his waves because we know who he is, right?
Yes.
As far as we know, because again, the MCU has been changing a few things. I'm just saying.
No,
Okay,
but
so keep that in mind. Hold on. That's actually a good point. Keep that in mind that this is an alternate universe Spider-Man.
Oh, yeah,
This
100%.
isn't Tom Holland Spider-Man.
we're not
It
even
was
sure- we're not even
promoted. It was promoted as we were to believe that this was Tom Holland pre-MCU.
But no way.
No.
Because when you see, like, you don't even know what time of the century this is. Like, when you see who Doctor Strange looks like, and then you see the technology, it just doesn't come together very well.
At all.
But in a good way, though. Because you're just like, where am I? What is this? Like, the whole time you're just wondering, like, where this is going to go. They kind of mesh, like, old school Avengers into futuristic technology Norman Osborn, which is awesome. And even Iron Man, because Iron Man pops up with his like
Yeah.
old suit, which
Yeah.
is fire. But the point I'm trying to make is that Norman, you kind of see him through Peter's like perspective the whole show, where like he has this naive mentality of like, this is the person that's gonna help me become a better Spider-Man, and he believes that. Even though we know as adults he's capping.
Well, because due to the fact that he didn't have like a father figure around him,
Exactly.
he was searching for it, and he found it in Norman.
When it comes to that specifically, like I said, we know he's the way he is in his personality, but it even had us almost second guessing, at least sometimes, like his actual motives, and if he act like we knew he had ulterior motives, but we still felt like he still wanted the best for Peter actually.
That is why I compare him to Magneto, because when we were watching X-Men 97,
Yes.
we didn't know if Magneto was capping.
Yeah, that's true. But that we didn't know for real. Like, but to end the point, it's just like I feel like he's definitely carried, and like it really showed a great side of Spider-Man in the first season of this show that we rarely get to see immediately, and it really showed the growth and him as a child, and you're just like, okay, he's naive, but he's growing up as the show goes on, as the season goes on, and it was a great, honestly, probably, I think Manny said it, said it before, not on the podcast, but privately, that this is probably one of the best renditions of Spider-Man ever.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, this is the most one of the most comic accurate.
I stand by that, because it's every character plays a role, and they play it well, because you have characters like when you're first introduced to Nico Minora. Nico Minora is literally, if you're a Marvel fan, you know who she is already. You know that she has powers and all this stuff. So, and the fact that that's his best friend, like not Ned or not Harry, like
not even Mary Jane, brother.
Not even Mary Jane. Mary Jane's not even in this.
Nope.
It's Pearl.
It's Moana.
It's Pearl.
It's Moana.
It's Pearl, not from SpongeBob. That's not Mr. Krabs' daughter.
My 16th birthday.
But
it's
like,
about you, Pearl.
She plays her part well, and then Lincoln. Lincoln is my number 2 in this show. The character of Lincoln.
Like it goes Norman Osborn, then Lincoln.
Okay. Then Peter, because
he's the main character.
Lincoln is played so well in the fact that, like, for us comic book fans, like for me, I knew who he was already. Them two were still trying to figure it out.
I didn't know his real name. I never knew his real name.
Spider-Man 2 made me remember. Spider-Man PS4 made me remember him.
It was the first one, but it was a DLC.
Yes.
Yeah.
It made me remember him. So Lincoln obviously becomes Tombstone. For those who don't know, Tombstone is an anti-hero.
But it's not even the part that makes him good. Like, honestly, you could take that out and it's still a good character.
Of course. And the best part about it is you see the fall from grace.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best part.
That's what makes me love that character even more, is the fall from grace. Because this man was 5-star recruited quarterback going to college. Had the girl of high school, the top girl in high school.
Pearl was the top one,
The top girl in high school.
I guess just like Mary Jane is.
Man had it running for had it going for all ends.
Yes,
he was performing well on all ends of the game.
Facts.
And
very nice dude, surprisingly.
And the best part about it is it messes up
Humble.
because he wanted to protect his family. Everything gets ruined because he just wanted to protect his family.
And he got led into the bad life.
Exactly,
the gang life.
by his little brother.
Yeah.
And,
trying to protect him, yeah.
And he was just trying to protect him and protect his family.
Yeah.
And
he got manipulated at the end of the day, because he said at the end of the day he's still a high schooler. So it's just like,
I love Lincoln's character. That's why him and Osborn are like neck and neck.
You know what's the best part about him though, out of the whole show, was you see him fall from grace the whole show, right? You were just like, wow, this guy's a nice guy, because Peter obviously likes Pearl, but then then Lincoln befriends Peter, and we're just like, this dude is such a nice guy. Like, you can't even say nothing. Like, this man is just too nice. And then the best thing about Lincoln was the fact that when they're fighting Scorpion at the end and he becomes Tombstone, like the powers a little bit, he's the one that stops Peter from falling even further and killing the Scorpion.
Ain't that like the irony in the show?
So like you see Lincoln do that whole fall from grace, right? And he's the one, even though he goes through all of that makes sure Spider-Man stays who he is, and not a killer.
A big strength of the show, with Lincoln's fall from grace, or his attempt to, to do the right thing, because the show does a really good job.
That's a good way to put
of developing these side characters and showing their own path. Aside from like developing Peter's story and his relationship with Osborn, slightly sidetracking him from his main. What comes with great power comes with great responsibility, or however the phrase is.
Yeah, the great power comes with great respect. Yeah.
Yeah, that. For like Lincoln, you have, which is a good example of what happens in the real world. Like, he was the successful student, the successful football player. He had everything going for him. But even still, like, what did his family have to sacrifice for him to get there? Given him being a young African American living in an urban city such as New York, to then where he's just like, he gets stuck in the trap essentially, where it's a very real world problem, where it's just like you're forced into a situation. Being in this trap literally ends up soaking itself up and becomes your identity, such as the case with Lincoln, where you slowly see his life kind of pick itself apart to where whatever he used to identify as and him becoming Tombstone, it pieces itself up, where he associates, essentially is running with the gang life at this point.
Well,
he's a leader now.
He's a leader now. He has no choice.
No, he does. He just
he didn't have a choice to begin with, actually, to be honest.
No, but he chose to be the leader for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, now that he has his powers developing,
he thinks he's the guy.
You see the little glimpse of him turning into what we know, comic book accurate Tombstone.
Either which way, he survived.
All I know is them cornrows are gone.
Yep.
No, sometimes he stays. Sometimes he stays with them.
Anyway,
sometimes he stays with them.
My man's about to look like a new member of the Proud family.
But he had opportunities to express his grievances with the situation, such as opening up to Pearl, or maybe his parents, or maybe his friends, like someone he trusted. But he burdened himself with that situation, and then he was self-aware of it, and he ran with it. He
took it all on himself.
Yeah,
you got to think in that situation. There's really no coming back from what he had started. So at that point, he was just trying to save face.
That's what I'm saying, though. In real life, that's the problem that people have. And there's, you can't just say that, living this lifestyle is, the real thing. But usually, and I mean, a good 90% of the time, the streets, no one owns the streets. The streets own you at the end of the day. Period. And there's only so many people in the real world that rise above it and try to steer people that used to do bad things. Because, there's a lot of bad things that we probably could have done in our lives, and even if we did do some things, but a lot of people, especially around this age group that, the show shows off, there's that, they don't have that sense of clarity to know the right from wrong. And it's oh, this is life, this is the hand I was dealt, and they just run with it without realizing they could also try playing another hand.
Yeah, I agree. One of the key points I want to bring up quickly is I love how Nico's character is so good in the best friend role.
Yes.
In my opinion, so far out of any Spider-Man we've gotten, show or movie wise, I think she's the most in depth in terms of best friend.
It just shows the most humanity, I feel like.
It's carried by the fact that we as comic book fans know who she is, but at the end of the day, we look at her and she has the dynamic of that humanity within Peter, because she's what I would like to call the borderline between Spider-Man and Peter Parker.
Yep.
And she plays that role so well. And then you have Harry come in, and Harry is more of the guy that you could tell is more of the Spider-Man side.
Yeah.
Where she is for the Peter Parker side, because that's her friend.
Yeah, and
that's who she's known.
And then that's when it comes to a head, when it all clashes together.
Exactly.
It's two worlds.
Then Nico only met, she knew Peter as Peter, whereas Peter's introduction to Harry
was Spider-Man.
He met Spider-Man before he met Peter.
By the way, just quick note, worst Peter Parker keeping his identity ever. That's what I'm just gonna say.
No, man's 14, 15.
Okay, but he's still the worst one. But it's true. It's true. He is young. But still, he's definitely the worst one.
No, 100%. And I like
everybody
the fact,
knows.
another key note. I love the fact that this takes place during Civil War.
Yes, I forgot to even say that, bro.
This whole entire universe is just based off of Captain America: Civil War, but in another universe where.
Which I wish that would have played more of a role.
I think it is in season 2.
I think so too, but that's what I'm saying. That's why this is an 8 out of 10 for me in the first season.
Well, it kind of did, in the sense of Norman talking to Ross in terms of hey, this is a hero to market himself.
My hope is that this is leading towards the comic book side where
they get recruited,
where Iron Man tells Peter, you have to show your face to everybody, and he goes out on national television and tells everybody he's Peter Parker.
That's what I was waiting for this season, but I guess it makes sense to save it.
It wouldn't only because Norman was protecting him from the Sokovia Accords, and now that he's probably not going to be protecting him in this season, I assume,
No, they're still kind of.
They're cool, but I feel like the
feel like it's gonna-
relationship is gonna start breaking.
I agree.
Because
I feel like it's because I feel like with the thing with Daredevil was in the show also.
yes,
It's gonna start revealing.
Finesse was in the show.
Yeah.
You guys don't know who that is, but I was so excited.
But that's gonna start revealing his secrets, and then Peter's gonna start finding out, and it's gonna lead to a breakage between him and Harry.
Exactly.
Like I feel like season 2 is gonna be a 10 out of 10.
And then on top
honestly.
of that, I feel like another key note. I feel like Nico knew he was Spider-Man, but she wanted him to tell her.
No, she didn't know.
I feel like she knew her powers. I feel like she knew. She knew. I know it.
But
I mean,
like
one thing that also really stands out, even though like realistically, yeah, sure, it's a Spider-Man show. At the end of the day, it is a kid show.
yeah.
For like the way it's laid out,
Even though
pacing,
there's a lot of blood.
Let me get to that point. There's a lot of like slow pacing that you would see in like a kid show. Like imagine us growing up watching like the Spectacular Spider-Man, or
Yeah,
even
very very life lesson-y.
yeah. And then when it came down to like Peter's first fight with Scorpion,
Oh yeah, that's when it got real. Dog.
and especially compared to like most things in the MCU, you never really see someone like actually like sure if they get stabbed, but you don't necessarily see for the most part the blade go through them. You saw this tail go through Spider-Man.
yeah,
Bro, you got tail whipped.
yeah.
And at the end of the day, like, watching this show, this is just a kid going through.
Things that
Bro,
you should
the
not go
worst
through.
year of high school.
Tail whip, no Pokemon, bro.
And then also in the second fight, or like, like trying to recover, like, you see him go through, like, a kid going through PTSD.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, 100%.
You know what? Like, real quick.
Whoa.
Real
Whoa! You're gonna send me that on Snapchat.
flash. Real quick, the parallels from this Spider-Man compared to the other Spider-Man out there in the universe, so well done. The fact that like when
like
he
he's
was
so
when he
different?
was about to like slam the thing on Gargan at the end was a mirror image of No Way Home, where
Yes.
Tom Holland was about to slam it on Green Goblin, and then
Pause.
and then Tobey Maguire got in the way. Mirror image. Another image was
To that point, for Tom Holland's Spider-Man to get to that point, he had to go through loss.
yeah.
This Spider-Man was fearing loss, so if he actually loses someone he fully cares about,
It goes.
the toll will be heavier.
It goes to show the difference between Tom Holland, who's an adult at that point, and a child.
Yeah. And then
Because a child would fear loss.
the other one I
over-
like is the
over an adult.
is the intros. The intros, real quick. The intros are fire. Like
Oh,
not,
yes.
not the song. The song is garbage. I'm gonna say that right now. The intro
It's not that
song
bad.
is garbage.
It's not that bad.
It's bottom tier, dude.
It's not that bad.
But the comic book strips,
Dude.
those comic book strips, when
The covers.
yeah,
you
the
mean.
covers. The one that he had thrown the Spider-Man like suit in the trash, Spider-Man 2 was right there, and I just looked at that and I was like, "That's literally Spider-Man 2."
But this was literally felt like a mix of every single Spider-Man I've seen on the screen into one Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Like, and it's like where you see Amazing Spider-Man, you see Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, you see Tom Holland Spider-Man, you even see some of the animated Spider-Man like into this, like where he's like trying to figure himself out and stuff. That's the most, the way he's trying to figure himself out. That was the most animated Spider-Man version of him. And then the craziest thing, and Manny was just like, there's certain parts where like it turned into a comic book, and then Manny was like, "Oh, Frank's gonna like this." Because it looked just like Miles Morales Spider-Man.
yeah, across the Spider-Verse.
Across the Spider-Verse, there we go. Across the Spider-Verse Spider-Man, where like you see these like moments where like the perspective shifts, and in the slow-paced moments, and it really shows like how he's dealing with everything as he's going on. Honestly, like, it's the first season of a show, but this got to be one of the best first seasons of a show I've probably ever seen.
I pray it doesn't miss.
It
That's
could
all I
make-
gotta-
Which to
It's
that
really
point,
hard to miss. And then, like, honestly, hang on. Honestly, like, when it comes to my rating, like, 8 out of 10 as a show, but as a first season, I think it's pretty much a 10.
Oh no,
100%.
100%.
'Cause, like,
I can
it's-
put it on that level. It's not better than X-Men 97.
No, it's not. It's not. That's why I couldn't give it a 10.
But if this is a 10 out of 10 for a first season, X-Men 97 was 100 out of 10.
Because it's just
Season.
because like the thing about X-Men 97 is that most of the characters are already established.
Yes.
And the thing, but in this one he wasn't. That's why it's that crutch and how good it was makes it just as good as X-Men 97 if you think about it like that.
I agree.
Yeah, because then you watching, sure he's Spider-Man, but technically he's not really Spider-Man.
He's still Peter.
Nah, he's still Peter Parker.
He's still learning to be Spider-Man. The way he
He
fights.
doesn't even know what he is. He's looking for Norman to tell him what a Spider-Man is.
Yeah, but realistically, you can't have someone tell you who you are. You got to find that for yourself, and you become who you are.
That's how he is in the early Spider-Man days. Always, he's always based off like Uncle Ben, but then later he learns how to just be himself.
Well, if you haven't seen it and you just listened to all these spoilers, I still think you should go watch it. It's pretty good.
I mean, even if you know all of that, bro, still watch it because there's still things we didn't even talk about.
Exactly.
Like one of the main plot points at the end.
Yeah.
But no, we'll let you figure that out. I don't think that needs to be mentioned.
That's the Andrew Garfield tie-in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Talk about portals.
So, if you've watched it, let us know what you thought about it. I'm Manny.
I'm Frank.
I'm Joseph.
Peace.